Hey guys, I'm coming to you with a little bit different view today. I'm coming to you from my New Hampshire compound up here in the vacation home. And what I want to do is continue a sort of short series I'm doing on this book, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. And I want to focus today on three things. The third one is the thing that makes this the easiest trading that you'll do ever. And this is trading without an indicator. That's what Jesse Livermore, who again, this book is about, was doing. This book was first published over 100 years ago. And Jesse Livermore was trading without indicators. He learned trading using price action only. And that was the main focus of his trading. And what I want to do is show you three things you can do to trade with price action. And as I've said in my other videos, if you want a free copy of this book, you can comment stock in the comments below, and I'll give you a free copy of the book so you can read it for yourself. But in this video, I'm going to condense a lot of the book and in just a few minutes, show you the important parts of price action. Starting with number one, the very first thing you want to trade with price action is the trend. This is a chart of the cues and one guess as to what the trend is since April. It's an uptrend, right? We're trending higher. So most of my trades are going to be long trades. It's just easier, right? To trade with the trend is much easier. And I know I've done trend reversal videos, but the easiest trade, instead of trying to catch that trend reversal, is just to trade with the trend. So number one, identify the trend on a larger time frame. And remember that for later in the video, because we're going to look at intraday trading. So we'll look at a 5-minute chart, but identify first the trend on a larger time frame, not intraday alone. And that is a clear uptrend. The second thing we're going to look for, and I'm going to go to this 5-minute chart, and I want to look at the 26th. The second thing we're looking for are pivot points. All pivot points are, it's not like confusing. It's not a complicated thing. A pivot point is just a turning point, right? A pivot, like in basketball, your pivot foot, your turn, right? That's a pivot high. That's a pivot low. That's not a pivot high, right? Because we don't turn. It could have been a double top with this top, and we could have pivoted lower, but we didn't. What we got was a higher low, and we set up a new support area. So that's what we're going to be talking about, pivots and support. We get a pivot high here and a pivot low here. And this is also a support area. There are two ways to trade these pivots and these support areas as we move higher. The first way is to buy as we break out of a higher low, right? This low is higher than this low. So as we break out of this little support area and move higher, that's a buy signal, right? You've got a little support area here. And as we break out of that, that's your buy point. That's your stop, right? And now you're looking for a scalp higher, which we get here. The second way to trade these pivots and support is a pivot at a previous support area. So what you end up with is a double bottom, right? A pullback from this pivot high, right? Pivot high here, pivot low here, pivot high here, pivot low here, which matches this support area. That's your buy area. And then we get a move higher. And that's a pivot high. Another move back, You get a support area to set up. We know we're in an uptrend, so we want to be looking to buy, like most of our trades, to be buys and not shorts. There's your support area. When you break out of that support area, you're moving higher. And note on this chart, there's no simple moving average. There's no RSI. There's no VWAP. There's no MACD. There's no indicator at all. You don't need it. You don't have to have an indicator to make money in the market. And this is not complicated stuff, right? Moving to support, moving to support, moving to support, breaking out, breaking out, breaking out, because we know the trend is higher. So that's the second thing that we're looking for. Identify the trend first. Now we're looking for pivot areas, and we're looking for support areas based on tying those pivot areas together, right? The third thing is if you have trouble identifying these areas, because I do know people, even experienced traders, who rely on indicators too much, who have trouble identifying support and resistance areas. If you're having trouble, go to higher time frames. I'm going to switch to a 15-minute time frame, and I'm going to show you on this 15-minute a couple of very clear support areas. Here I'm looking at Monday the 30th. You have a resistance area here. And remember, resistance becomes support. So when you move into this area, right, we opened the day on the 30th with a gap higher. We moved back to this area. And it's remember, it's not an exact price to the penny when you're looking at these support areas. This area I would call basically this as a support area. So if we're moving back into that area, or if we moved briefly through that area and now we're moving back up, you can use that as a buy signal, right? Coming out of that area of now support that was resistance, moving higher, we come back to this support area again, move higher. We come back into this support area again. We dip down near the bottom of it and move higher again. We dip down again and move higher again, right? This is on a 15-minute time frame. So if you're having trouble identifying support and resistance on a 1 or 2 minute chart, generally I'm looking at the 2 minute during the day, go to a 5-minute chart, then go to a 15-minute chart if you're still having trouble, and you can flip back and forth. And I want to show you something else on the 15-minute. Look at these two areas and what you get with this double bottom on a higher time frame is a much bigger move. So if you're looking for less trading and larger moves, go to this higher time frame. And this is the secret for those of you who don't want to trade all day long. You want to trade a lot less. You're just checking in a little bit during the day and not able to trade on a 2 or a 5-minute chart. If you go to the 15-minute, you're going to find clear areas of support just like this. And look at this double bottom, right? It sets up here for this pivot. You get a move higher and a couple of pivots intraday. This move lower on the 15, this major pivot sets up. And what do you see here? A hairpin turn, right? This big red and this big green that basically engulfs the red. That price here, the selling gets rejected, and it's rejected for a second time, making a double bottom. And that's your buy signal. You can either enter it here with a stop just below, or you can enter in this green candle as this is forming. Any place And this candle with a stop just below this is a good trade. And if you're trading on that 15-minute, like I said, expect larger gains. Your stops are going to be a little bit bigger too, right? If you bought up here in this candle, you've got a decent size stop, but look at the gain that you're getting on the 15-minute. So flip between those time frames if you're having trouble, and you're going to look for larger gains with less trading on that higher time frame. So those are some ways to trade price action and not indicators, which I think is a much simpler way to trade. I think it's just as good as using an indicator to trade, especially if you are confused by the indicators. And if you want a lot of information on it, again, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. This was the original story of, trading price action. And again, if you want a free copy, comment in the comments the word stock, and I'll send you a free copy. So I hope this video helped. I hope you get the book for free. I think it's like 30, you can pay up to $30 on Amazon for the book. But I'll give it to you for free. I hope you get to read it on your summer vacation, as I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. And if this video helped, please give a thumbs up, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.